The lesson that we can learn is prepare as many quotes as possible while preparing the ethics paper, and prepare the quotes syllabus wise. So whatever is the topic that is given in the syllabus, you have to prepare the quotes accordingly, adding real life examples with each point in ethics. So in ethics, wherever the question is linked with public administration, you have to substantiate whatever point you are writing with an example. That is must. If you're not doing it, then your answer is generic. Using diagram in the non-core part. As I have also highlighted in my earlier videos, that diagram is a very important weapon, but it should be only used in the non-core part. जो आपका core part है answer का, वहाँ पे वो use नहीं होगा. Hello everyone. So in this short video, we will be discussing the 12 lessons that you can learn from answer writing style of AIR 1 and AIR 6. Right? Both of them scored 450 plus marks in their GS papers, which are very rare. And the reason why I am discussing the answer writing style of AIR 1 and 6 is because I had the privilege of seeing them improve and also having answer writing or answer copy discussions with them. So AR 1, as you know, is Shakti Dubey and AR 6 is Komal Punia. So basically, this is not just the only lecture. We will be taking more lectures where we'll identify more lessons that we can take from the answer writing style of both of these top rankers, right? So सबसे पहले, let's start with the first lesson, which is approaching static questions also with current orientation. Now, this is something which Shakti was not doing earlier, but with more feedbacks and everything, she started incorporating them in all the 4 GS papers. So if you see, this is religious philosophies had a profound impact on the development of Mauryan architecture. Explain. So in this question, as you can see, that she has started with the recent context. Earlier, she was writing very vague kind of introductions. Then now, if you see in the subsequent test, she has written that recently statue of replica of Sarnath lion pillar capital was unveiled at the premise of new parliament building, showcasing rich architecture tradition of the Mauryan age. So the question was asked about the Mauryan age, and she started with the recent context when Mauryan empire was in news in one way or another. If you see this answer of ethics also, what are the key teachings of Thiruvalur and how are they relevant in today's world? So again, if you see her answer, she has started with the recent context when Thiruvalur was in news, which is in the recent G20 summit, Prime Minister gifted Thiruvalur to the guests, signifying the relevance and importance of book even in the present times, right? The second lesson that we can learn from Shakti scored very high in ethics is using quotes, especially in the introduction part, right? So if you see many of her answers in ethics, she has used quotes in the introduction. For example, if you see this question, how does emotional intelligence contribute to overcoming challenge and achieving success in high stress environment? Discuss its impact and resilience on decision making. So she started with the quote of Emerson, which is taking intelligent decision requires more than intelligence. So that's the quote she has started. Or if you see this question, educational institutions are pivotal in instilling ethical values in students by integrating moral dedication with academic learning. So again, she started with this quote, it is easy to build stronger children than to repeat broken or then to repair broken men, right? So again, she started with the quote and then she explained the quote. If you see this question, ethical principles are the integration of discrete individual moral values, illustrate with suitable examples. So again, if you see, she started with the quote, we are not just made of ourselves, but we are made of many. So the lesson that we can learn is prepare as many quote as possible while preparing the ethics paper, and prepare the quotes syllabus wise. So whatever is the topic that is given in the syllabus, you have to prepare the quotes accordingly and use them whenever that topic is asked in the question. Third lesson, very important, adding real life examples with each point in ethics. So in ethics, wherever the question is linked with public administration, you have to substantiate whatever point you are writing with an example. That is must. If you're not doing it, then your answer is generic. For example, again, if you see this question, how does emotional intelligence contribute to overcoming challenge and achieving success in high stress environment? Discuss its impact on resilience and decision making. So if you see her answer, she has written 7 points to explain that, and in all the 7 points she has given example of bureaucrat. For example, Tihar Jail, Kiran Bedi, Minal Karanwal, right? Then Chavi Rajawat, and finally Kerala administration rapid response during floods. So whatever point she is making, she is substantiating that with example. Let's see even further. EI empowers public servants to skillfully manage interpersonal dynamics, hence fostering a cohesive work culture. Discuss. तो देखो यहाँ भी, if you see, with every point she is writing example. For example, during demonetization, public servants skillfully motivated bank officials, or it helps in better coordination and calculated response. For example, Kerala public administration, or helps in ensuring a compassionate work culture. Example, during COVID-19. Then E. Sridharan. Then if you see all the other example, if you're saying in initiatives like Suleiman campaign by Prashant Nair or Armstrong Payne. So whatever point she's writing, or Smita Sabharwal. So whatever point she is writing, she's substantiating that with example. Fourth and very important, that add as many keywords and phrases. So whatever subject you are preparing, whatever notes you are making, please have a list of keywords and phrases prepared which can be seamlessly integrated in your answers. For example, if you see, discuss the role of training and continuous learning for civil servants in navigating modern administrative challenge. So Shakti has talked about that how PM held that civil servants are like fourth lion, that is anonymous, yet it indispensable part of administration. So the keyword that she is using. या फिर addressing the drug abuse in India demands a multifaceted approach that tackles the root cause of the menace. So again, she is talking about how drug abuse is a perfect example of Gandhiji's 7 sins, which is pleasure without conscience. Or if you see this question in GS1, caste as a social capital is deployed more for parochial interests than for social unity. So she has used this phrase that Indians don't cast their vote, but they vote their caste, right? So these kind of good phrases for each subject you need to prepare in your notes and integrate them while writing answers. Then fifth, adding committees in your answers, right? There are, I would say, 35 to 40 important committees, most importantly in GS2, GS3, and also in society answers, right? Especially related to women, related to, SC, ST, tribals, etc. Okay? And even in 4 also, you can always quote second ARC and other committees. So if you see this answer on civil servants, so she has quoted 3 committees, in the answer: Hota Committee, Uganda Committee, and second ARC. 6th, and very important, is holistic view of measures taken, which means that, let's say if the question says what are the measures that are taken by India, right? So in this context, you will not just talk about the steps that are taken by the government, but also the steps taken by government, by judiciary, right? Any scheme, any policy, any Supreme Court judgment, or have we signed a UN convention? Have we signed international declaration? Right. So all these things will be included while writing answer. You don't have to take a very narrow view while writing the measures taken by India. For example, there was this question: despite all the progress, LGBTQ plus citizens still face challenge to their rights and dignity, discussed with special reference to measures taken in India in this regard. So if you see her copy, she has talked about Nath Foundation case, which is a Supreme Court judgment. She has talked about Nalsa judgment, again, court judgment. Transgender Persons Act, that has been also taken by India. That is a act. Then India is also a signatory to Yogyakarta Declaration. So that is India signing a international declaration. तो measures taken में ऐसा मत करो कि सिर्फ government measures तक restrict कर दो. Take a very broad point of view. 7th is expert, or adding expert or top leaders' opinion in IR answers. This again is very, very important, because while writing IR answers, there are, I would say, 15 or 20 good geopolitical experts. Raj Mohan ho gaya, Brahm Chalani ho gaya, foreign minister himself, prime minister, ex-prime minister. So all these people who are geopolitical experts try to, inculcate their opinions either in the introduction or in the conclusion of IR answers. For example, if you see copy of Shakti's, she is quoted: Dhruva Jaishankar writes that India's diplomacy can be best described as smart power diplomacy, which is balance, combination of soft and hard. Or if you see this question: amid Bangladesh internal crisis, India and Bangladesh face a crucial test in redefining their enduring partnership. So she started with the quote by Jaishankar that India-Bangladesh ties are fraternal ties, which is based on historical, cultural, and relation, and shaped by present-day realities. Or if you see this answer of Komal Punia AR6, India cannot become a great power with unsettled border and unintegrated region, and India exploited opportunities and underexploited opportunities. Again, this is a quote by Jaishankar, and Komal has used that in the conclusion. Next is adding maximum dimensions in your answers. As I've always been emphasizing, that the more number of points you write, the more is the chance that you get marks. So lagbhag 11 to 12 points you have to write in 10 marks, and 18 points, try to write 18 points in 15 marks, right? And if you see this answer by Shakti, so it's a 10 marker, and if you see the points, she has written almost 6 points in one part and 6 points in the second part in a 10 marker. So almost 12 points are written, and this should be the length of your points. It should be 1.5 to 2 lines. Neither smaller than that nor bigger than that. Because if it's very small, it looks like notes, and if it's huge, it looks like, ultimately that you'll not be able to write dimensions. अगर आप 2-3 point कम लिख रहे हो average, तो आपको आधा एक number कम मिलेगा. So this is the ideal length of point that you need to write in your answers. See, सब अगर आप सारे point देखो, mostly 2 line के points हैं. Then very important, quoting reports and index in introduction. So in GS1, you can use that in economic geography, environmental geography, society. You can use it in polity. You can use that in governance. You can use that in economics. You can use that in environment. You can use that in disaster management. You can use that in security. You can use that even in ethics. So if you see, this was the question on environmental geography. So evaluate the status of India's mangroves ecosystem and its functions as a bioshield with suitable example. So you've started with this according to the Indian State of Forest Report. Mangroves occupy 0.48% of India's territorial area with 40% concentrated in West Bengal. So that's what you are doing. You are starting with, she started with the Indian State of Forest Report. Or if you see, I think this is not very clear, but this was an ethics question, and she started with economic survey and discussing how India's expenditure on public health is so less compared to the global standards. Or if you see this copy of Komal, AR6 Komal, so the question was on demographic transition demands renewed focus on healthcare intervention patterns. Discuss the statement in the light of geriatric health in India. So she started with the census that elderly population is almost 10% and it is expected to rise 30% by 2050. So जो important reports है, again there are 35 to 40 important reports. उसको notes में incorporate करो and use them in the introduction. Then using diagram in the non-core part. As I have also highlighted in my earlier videos, that diagram is a very important weapon, but it should be only used in the non-core part. जो आपका core part है answer का, वहां पे वो use नहीं होगा. ठीक है? So if you see this copy of Komal Punya, discuss the role of microfinance institutions in rural financial empowerment in India. So if you see that copy, you will see that the question is talking about discuss the role of microfinance institutions in rural financial empowerment in India. ठीक है? अब यहां पे क्वेश्चन अगर कहता एग्जामिन या क्रिटिकली एग्जामिन, देन जो नेगेटिव साइड था वो आपका कोर पार्ट था. तो वहां पे आप पॉइंट्स में लिखते कि भाई ये प्रॉब्लम्स हैं माइक्रो फाइनेंस इंस्टीट्यूशन में. बट बिकॉज द कीवर्ड और द डायरेक्टिव इज डिस्कस, so it is not explicitly mentioned that you have to also mention the other side. So in order to complete the answer, you mention the other side, but because it's not the core part, you will use flow chart to mention the issues with the MFI, right? So these are the issues: regional imbalance, interests are high, MFI suffers from credit crunch. ठीक है? तो लेसन ये है कि अगर क्वेश्चन में नॉन कोर पार्ट है, आपको एड्रेस करना है, तो आप rather than writing in points, फ्लो चार्ट से उसको एड्रेस कर सकते हो. 11th, adding Supreme Court judgments in your answer, right? So as I have said, there are some around 40 important judgments, 40 to 50. Keep a note of that, and especially in polity answers, use them. For example, supremacy of the constitution requires all ordinary laws to conform to constitutional laws. Discuss the statement with reference to judicial review in India. So if you see, these are the important cases Komal has written. Almost अभी मैंने पूरा नहीं दिखाया, 9 to 10 cases she has mentioned, substantiating that part. Minerva Mill case, Shreya Singhal case, SR Bomaye, मराठा रिजर्वेशन केस, साबरीमाला टेम्पल केस, शाहबानो केस. सो इस तरह से आपको केसेस रटे रहने चाहिए, स्पेशली जो इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक्स हैं, आर्टिकल 21, आर्टिकल 19, राइट, आर्टिकल 15, 16. तो जो इंपॉर्टेंट मुद्दे हैं, राइट, बर्निंग इश्यूज हैं, एटलीस्ट लिंक टू दैट यू शुड हैव द लिस्ट ऑफ केसेस विथ यू. एंड लास्टली, breaking the question into parts and subparts. See, if you see this year's GS2 paper, the questions are not very direct, but you can make it direct by breaking the parts according to keywords and addressing those keywords subsequently. For example, if you see this Komal's answer, so the question says, without performance targets, the civil servants degenerate into close priesthood with no accountability. Discuss the statement with reference to Mission Karma Yogi. अब यहाँ पे, if we talk about the whole paper, you will see that आप कीवर्ड के हिसाब से she has broken down. पहली चीज क्या लिखी है उसने इंट्रो के बाद, इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ परफॉर्मेंस टारगेट एज मेंशन्ड इन मिशन कर्म योगी. सो क्योंकि यहाँ पे कीवर्ड था क्या, परफॉर्मेंस टारगेट, पहला कीवर्ड था परफॉर्मेंस टारगेट. सो दिस इज द फर्स्ट हेडिंग शी हैज गिवन एंड शी हैज एक्सप्लेन्ड दैट. देन सेकंड हेडिंग शी हैज गिवन, विदाउट परफॉर्मेंस टारगेट सिविल सर्विस डीजनरेट्स इनटू क्लोज प्रीटूड. ये आपका सेकंड पार्ट था आंसर का एंड शी हैज एक्सप्लेन्ड दैट, राइट. और थर्ड पार्ट में व्हाट शी हैज डन, थर्ड पार्ट में she has mentioned how Mission Karma Yogi is improving the performance targets and accountability. So that's how she has divided the answer into three parts based on the keywords which are there in the answers. Right? So this is the first series of lessons that we will do, and I'll make 3-4 more videos where we will be talking about more rankers and seeing how much they have scored. For example, I had done a session with Anu Kaushik Narsimha, who has got 225 rank, and he has got 125 in GS2. So there are good things that can be learned from his copy also. So I'll do that in future also. Now, before we end, I would also like to say that all these beautiful, flawless answers they are writing because they practiced a lot of answer writing, right? So with this note, we have started, or the new batch of main test series with Write Smart is starting from 15th of September. The first test is on 22nd. And it's very important to write because next 100 days of answer writing can help you score 450 marks in UPSC Mains 2026. Because remember this thing, between prelims and mains, it's a rat race. 75-80 days are there, and you cannot really improve your answers to the next level in those 2.5 months. If you start now and practice extensively for next 100 days, you will definitely be in the pole situation, right? So सिर्फ lecture देखने से आपका काम नहीं होगा. Answer writing is must. And in this mains test series, I will have 20 lectures of answer writing in which whatever templates I have taught to all the 550 plus rankers that I've mentored, I will be teaching that. Plus there will be Write Smart before every test. Plus there will be 20 tests, and after every test, there will be live evaluation cum mentorship, right? So you can identify your gaps and you can work on them. Okay? So that is the program, and इसके अलावा नित्य प्रगति का बैच भी लॉन्च हो गया है. 5th बैच स्टार्ट हो गया है, अभी स्टार्ट हुआ, बट इट डज नॉट मैटर बिकॉज whenever you joined it, we give you the timetable and the targets are made according to you. So इसमें भी मेरे 40 lectures है जिसमें 10 plus lectures answer writing पे है. So these are the two programs that are active at this moment. So on this note, I would like to end this video, and I'll again make a short video on the same series very soon. Thank you and have a good day.